Oh, it's cold today. It's showtime, live at PJ's. How's it going, folks? Good morning and welcome to my Sunday recovery chat. Coffee number 2. That's going to warm my hands up. It's Badger here today on Arran. We had snow yesterday, which isn't something that happens very often. So I had a nice dog walk at about 6ish in the dark with a headlamp on in the snow, and it was really nice. And while I was on my walk, I had my AirPods in and I was having a conversation with my brother, which was nice. He's just bought a van and he's looking for some help. So I'm hoping I can help him. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. We have someone on the stream. Good morning, IC121. How are you? Where is your mind today? I hope you're feeling good. I am feeling good, yes, and thank you for asking. I hope you are too. I've had a good week. It's been a productive week, let's say. I dealt with fear this week, which is... I looked back through some of my older videos and some of my video ideas that are coming up in my Notion database. And fear is probably, if you did one of those word cloud things, that's probably the word that would have the biggest letters. It's a topic that I'm fascinated by. And the reason for that is because it is something that I have to deal with every day. Every day. And you know what they say in June, right? Fear is the mind killer. And he who controls the spice controls the universe. Good morning, Moonfan. How are you? I hope you are well this morning. Here's Willow come to say hi. Sitting by the fire. You come for a heat, Willow? It's Willow, our Bengal. One of our 2 Bengals. We have 2. Willow's the granddaughter. And we have the grandmother as well. Come say hi to my friends. Come and say hi. Normally I sit with my guitar, but this morning I'm sitting with Willow. And that's nice. She's warm and fluffy. Very, very friendly. So yeah, my week, my fear. This week I was a bit concerned because I was struggling to come up with a video idea. I was struggling to sit down and hit record. I was struggling with imposter syndrome. All of those things. And at the moment I am studying under a coach called Hassan Kuba. And I meet with him every 2 weeks. And on the off times, on the off weeks, I meet with some of the other people that are in the coaching course and we help each other out. So this week we talked about my growing business because I am building, let's use positive mindset and growth mindset. I am building a coaching business where I will help people who have put down the drink and are feeling lost, because that's exactly how I felt and how I've been feeling actually for years, if I'm honest. And I could have used some help, you know. I mean, I go to AA meetings, not as regularly as I used to, but I still attend, and they are, for me, the best way, the only way, as far as I'm concerned, that I could have got sober. And the support and to have that in my life is something I'm very grateful for. And that's where the concept of the grateful alcoholic comes into play, which is a concept that used to baffle me. I used to be like, you're grateful to be an alcoholic? That makes no sense. But I get it now, because it means that I have a safe place where I can go and I can talk about my day, I can talk about my challenges, I can talk about my wins, I can talk about how it was for me, what happened and what it's like now. And that's really all it's about. And in that environment, I get to hear how other people are doing and to learn from what they're going through. And one of the beautiful things about AA is the concept that there's no crosstalk. So it's not a situation where you listen to somebody sharing their story and then you jump in with ideas and thoughts and advice. That's crosstalk, and we don't do crosstalk. And that's part of the value, is that you get to talk about your issues without fear of judgment and without the people that are listening to you feeling like they have to help you with advice and stuff like that. All that's required on their part is to listen. So I've heard it said that you take the cotton wool out your ears and you put it in your mouth. So you just listen, and that's incredibly powerful. It's, if everyone had a place like that, I think the world would be a bit of a better place than it is. But that's how I stay sober, right? And what do you do with the rest of it? How do you deal with life on life's terms? How do you find the self-esteem and the courage and the self-belief and the will to start to build a business, or to excel in your job, or to excel in your home life, to achieve your goals, to work out your values? That's where coaching would have helped me a lot. And so that's why I'm just leaning into the fear, leaning into the fear and deciding that this is something I would like to start to offer other people. And it's incredibly scary, isn't it? Yes, it's scary, but I suppose this is what I'm talking about. Fear. Fear is the mind killer. So now that I'm studying with a coach, and now that I have systems in place because I've studied with August Bradley, learned how to build a life operating system, learned how to align my life so that it points towards my values, now that I've worked out what those values are, and I talked about that in my latest video, the one that I did finally find the courage to record, and it's performing quite well. I think it's what they call a banger on YouTube. In other words, if you go to the studio to look at your analytics, it's got confetti. There's Eddie. Good morning, Eddie. How the devil are you? Nice to see you. Thank you for coming into my stream and saying hi. So now that I've worked out my value goals, I've worked out my systems, and I've read a couple of books about mindset, which August Bradley recommended, it's put me in a place where when the fear gets overwhelming, I have things that I can fall back on. I have quotes that I can look at. I'm making a document of positive feedback that I've received from the Part-Time YouTuber Academy course. I will take the dogs out. That happened one day this week when I was feeling completely overwhelmed and didn't have time to walk the dogs up here. So I did. I walked the dogs. And that cleared my head. It's an amazing thing. And not always an easy thing to do, to step out and get perspective in that way. It's like what they say about an AA meeting. If you feel like you don't need one because you're too stressed and you don't have time, that's the very time that you need one. So I've learned that, and I've also learned that I am my own worst enemy when it comes to doing the right thing. I don't always do it, and so I can get into practice. I can look at my Notion database, I can look at my quotes, I can I can even go onto a Zoom call with the fantastic support group that has come about on the back of cohort 1 of the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. The support group that we have formed coming out of that, it's one of the most valuable things I've ever had. In fact, yesterday we did 2 co-working sessions, which we do every day, but weekends we do a 2-hour session in the morning and a 2-hour session in the afternoon. And during that morning session, we had a bit of a brainstorm about my niche and my audience and my business, and it was incredible. Really, really incredible. There's my friend Michael. Good morning, Michael. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. This poor guy's dealing with depression and hate in his heart. I can relate to that. I have dealt with those things as well. And dealing with hate in your heart, I'm trying to switch all of that to love my fellow man, to treat people the way that I wish to be treated. And that's something that I wasn't doing in my previous life up until, I was running a post office business, which I really did not get on with at all. It was not good for my mental health. And it turned me into a person I really didn't like. And into a person that a lot of other people didn't like either, if I'm honest. And that didn't make me feel good. And it became like a negative feedback loop. The worse I felt, the worse I behaved. And the worse I behaved, the worse I felt. And so it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And to break that chain is a mindset shift. So I will recommend a book to you called Mindset by Carol Dweck. This is the book that was recommended to me when I went into August Bradley's Notion Life Operating System course. And that book was incredible. It taught me a lot of things. And that's one of the things that I look to when I'm struggling, when I'm dealing with fear, when I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, when I'm dealing with mindset issues. And depression, stress, you mentioned IC21. Yeah, that's something I went through. And I talk about it in my podcast. I have made many episodes. In fact, I started my podcast, Quoth the Camser, because I had just been diagnosed with depression. And this was before I even knew that my post office business was going to be sold. It had been on the market at that point for about 7 years without any glimmer of hope. And so what I did was I started talking about it and publishing it as a podcast. The talking part helped a lot, but I don't think I would have done it had I not been planning to publish it. And it might sound a little weird and a little narcissistic to be thinking that, I didn't think what I was saying was going to change the world, or it wasn't going to grow an audience of massive proportions. It wasn't about that. It was about accountability. That's how I look at it. And that's why I would take my microphone out on my dog walks, pin it onto my lapel, and just talk. And, without much of a plan, like I'm doing here right now. When I switch this camera on a Sunday morning, I usually have a rough idea of how I'm going to start, but then I just follow the paths, and that helped me a lot. It helped me an incredible amount. You can listen back to them. They're still publicly available. My YouTube channel has a playlist, Quoth the Camser playlist, which I believe goes back to the beginning, but I don't think they're all on YouTube. I think if you want to listen to all of them, look for the podcast. If you go to quothethecamser.com, I'll put it in the chat for you. Sounds like the cat's found some toys. So I'll just bring it up here and then paste it into the chat. There you go. So that will have the entire catalogue going through to when I was first diagnosed and into selling my post office, starting a business that failed, and moving into this new business of mine that I'm starting now. So maybe that will help you. Have a look, check it out. Eric's saying the cat is back in the picture. Oh, do you know what she does? She chews the foam on my guitar stand. I'm going to go and rescue it. Come on. See these wee foam bits with all the tooth marks? She chews on them. It's a bit annoying, to be honest, but you know, owning cats, pros and cons. I will fold that up and put it back on my desk. There. So she'll be up here in a minute, probably chewing it on my desk. And the reason the guitar was unguitarred is because I have it here. I was planning on playing a tune at the end of my stream. Good morning, Eric. Nice to see you. So yeah, that's how my week has been. I've faced the fear and I made a video and it turned out to be a good video. So one of the things that helped me was, hang on, no pros. This is my friend Mark. No pros. Not sure what you're meaning there, Mark. So I've started listening to a book called Storyworthy on my dog walks by Matthew Dix. And that helped me a lot. Matthew Dix talks about storytelling. And I get the feeling that that's kind of how my channel is going on YouTube. Stories are a big part of what I do, and I want to... pros and cons of cats, got you. No pros? Yeah, well, I might have agreed with you before we got Willow. I actually quite like her, but keep it to yourself. I've got a reputation to maintain. So learning to tell stories is something I want to get better at. I don't want to get better at learning, I want to get better at telling stories. And that's something I've learned to do in years and years of going to AA meetings and telling my story. And telling it in a compelling way that helps the newcomer. That's really what it's all about. So reading this book has helped me a lot, really to shifting my mindset around to the idea that this is what I'm doing on my channel. I'm telling stories in a way that I hope is helpful to other people. So yeah, I haven't finished the book yet, so I'll get back to you on that. But at the moment I'm enjoying it a lot and it's already been helpful. So one of the things that he recommends that you do is a thing that he calls homework for life, where at the end of the day you think about something that happened that day that was story-worthy. So something that is maybe unusual, something that has surprised you. It can be anything, but really just one sentence or two sentences at the end of each day about something that happened. So I have started doing that. This is day 4. I'm doing it in my Notion daily tracking page. And yeah, it's good. I've got a kind of wind down routine at the end of the day now, where I will list a small win for the day, and quite often that can be the same thing as my story-worthy sentence or two, but it doesn't have to be. And I also take note of my blood glucose readings, because one of the things that I've found is that I turn to sugar instead of alcohol, or I turn to online shopping, or any kind of obsessive behaviour. But the self-destructive obsessive behaviour for me is sugar. And So I've begun tracking my sugars daily, in the morning and at night, so that when I do my weekly review, which I generally do on a Monday morning, I can see data that show me what I'm doing to myself. And it's useful data, it's helpful. It does actually, it's a bit like the 10,000 steps thing on the Fitbit watch. If it encourages you to change your behaviour, then it's technology that's worth having. And building a streak as well, that's something that helps me, but it's also dangerous. It helps me because I don't want to break the streak. That's how streaks work, right? You want that green check mark every day for whatever your habit thing is that you've decided you want to do, which is helpful, but it's dangerous also because of the all or nothing sort of thing I have in my brain, where if I miss a day, then I might as well just give up for the whole thing. It's like eating one biscuit from the custard creams pack. Well, I've had one biscuit, I might as well have all the biscuits. Same with the alcohol thing, you know. But one of the things I learned about on August Bradley's course is how, well, it might be how he deals with it, but he made the suggestion that never miss 2 days in a row. So that helps me. So if I do miss a day with one of my trackers, I can get back on it again. I don't have to throw the whole thing out. Which is a good thing to learn how to do, because it's not my natural behaviour. And it's my natural behaviour that I want to change, right? So that my natural behaviour becomes good behaviour. So my habit trackers, I've got reading, I've got journaling, dog walking, no sugar, press-ups. I've got to 15 press-ups a day now. I started at 10, so that's working. And then when I do my weekly review, I get an overview of how successful I've been with my trackers, and it's just data that makes me want to achieve the habits. Even if I'm doing press-ups at 11:30 at night because I forgot, I'm checking my daily trackers and I can see, you know, I've not done it. I'm doing my wind down at the end of the day. And playing guitar is one of my habits. And all I need to do to check the box is play guitar for 5 minutes. I don't need to learn a new thing. I don't need to practice a scale. I just need to pick it up and play it for 5 minutes. So I think I've already got my check mark for today. Although it's not mindful playing. But it will be shortly. So that's been my week. I hope your week has been good. I hope you've managed to stay sober this week. And if you would like to watch me build a business in public, which is what I'm doing, then join me. I will be posting newsletter at camscampbell.com, my podcast at Quoth the Camser, which I've already linked, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/camscampbell, and LinkedIn. I'm going to start pushing into LinkedIn a bit more, putting articles. I want to write more. So maybe I'll be writing on my blog, maybe I'll be writing on LinkedIn, maybe I'll be writing for my newsletter, but somehow I'm going to come up with a system that uses all three of those things in a nice SEO friendly way, because I love writing. I love my keyboard. I love sitting at my desk. I love the whole process. I'm not doing it enough. And since I love it, it's something I should be doing. So, yeah, look out for that. My newsletter, I think I'm going to start to give you some links to articles and websites that I have found that week that I'm using that I found helpful. So, for example, on LinkedIn this week, I had a nice comment from somebody called Belinda Tobin in Australia. And so I followed up on her content and I found some really good articles that she's written. So that kind of thing, I want to start sharing what I've found. What's Mark here saying? Have you ever investigated the brain chemistry of the feel-good feeling and just one more custard cream syndrome? I speak as one who has eaten whole tins of Quality Street. No, I have not, but I will. I will check that out. I can relate to the Quality Street. We used to get in the post office at Christmas time, customers would bring us tins of sweets, and Quality Street were my favourite. And I remember I think it was the day of Barack Obama's inauguration speech, and I remember closing the post office, switching on the live stream to watch the inauguration speech, and eating a whole tin of sweets. What's the cat in now? She's playing with a tape measure. And that was the day where I decided to come off medication and change my diet, which I did do for about 18 months. I went paleo, started reading lots of books around, low carbs, paleo, keto, whatever you want to call it. And I lost a lot of weight quite quickly and reversed my diabetes for a while. I mean, it's back now, but it did work. So I will leave you with that. Thank you for your comment, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's come along this morning. I'm just going to doodle a little bit in DADGAD. I'll see if I can bring up my effects and put them. Wait a sec. Yeah, there's that one. Sub A, effects, reverb. There. Haha. bit of noodling and dadgad. It's a lot of fun. So thank you all again for joining today. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the Zoom grid. Remember, you're not alone. Bye for now.